January 29th, 1945, 2:47 p.m., Holzheim, Belgium. First Sergeant Leonard Funk walks around the corner of a farmhouse and stops dead. 90 German soldiers are staring straight at him. Half of them already have weapons in their hands. The rest are grabbing rifles from a pile on the ground. Nearby, 4 American GIS kneel in the snow, disarmed, their hands locked behind their heads. These Germans were prisoners just 20 minutes ago. 80 of them, captured during the assault on this village, guarded by only 4 Americans, everything Funk's company could spare. Now they are free, armed, and organizing to attack Company C from the rear. A German officer steps forward and shoves an MP-40 submachine gun into Funk's stomach. He starts shouting orders in German. Funk doesn't understand a word. Neither do any of the Americans. The officer screams again, louder, his face turning red. Funk looks at the 90 Germans. He looks at his 4 men on their knees in the snow. He looks down at the machine gun pressed into his gut. And then Leonard Funk starts laughing. The German officer freezes. Confusion flashes across his face. Then rage. He screams again. Funk laughs harder. What happens next takes less than 1 minute. 21 German soldiers will be dead. The rest will throw down their weapons and surrender. Again. And Leonard Funk will earn the Medal of Honor for one of the most astonishing acts of close-quarters combat in World War II. All because he couldn't stop laughing. Leonard Alfred Funk, Jr. was born on August 27th, 1916, in Braddock Township, Pennsylvania, a steel town along the Monongahela River, 8 miles east of Pittsburgh. Smokestacks and foundries dominated the landscape, and hardship shaped daily life. Funk grew up fast. Responsibility came early. By the time he graduated high school in 1934, he had already spent years helping care for his younger brother. The Great Depression was in its 5th year. Jobs were scarce. College was a fantasy. In June 1941, with war raging across Europe and Asia, Congress expanded the draft. Funk's number came up. He reported to the induction center in Wilkinsburg, Pennsylvania. He was 24 years old, 5 feet 5 inches tall, 140 pounds. The Army examiner likely saw a future clerk. He was wrong. Funk volunteered for the paratroopers. In 1941, American airborne forces barely existed. The idea was radical, jumping out of perfectly good airplanes, landing behind enemy lines, and fighting surrounded. To most soldiers, it sounded like suicide. The volunteers were different. They had to be. Airborne training was designed to break men. 5 weeks of relentless running, climbing, jumping, and falling. Brutal conditioning that washed out half the candidates. Then the jump towers, then the aircraft. The first time you step out of a C-47 at 1,200 feet, everything in your body screams to grab the door frame and hold on. The ground is a long way down. The wind tears at your face. Your parachute is nothing but fabric, cord, and faith. Funk earns his jump wings. He's assigned to Company C, 1st Battalion, 508th Parachute Infantry Regiment at Camp Blanding, Florida. In late 1943, the 508th ships to England and joins the 82nd Airborne Division, the All-Americans, veterans of Sicily and Italy. These men have already jumped into combat. They've already killed and watched friends die. Funk is the new guy, 27 years old, ancient by paratrooper standards. Most of the men around him are barely 20. But Funk has something they don't. Maturity, steadiness, the kind of quiet competence that makes men follow you into hell. By D-Day, Leonard Funk is already a squad leader. By Holzheim, he will be acting company executive officer. First, he has to survive Normandy, June 6th, 1944, 1:30 a.m. The C-47 Skytrain shudders violently as anti-aircraft fire explodes around it. Funk stands in the stick, the line of paratroopers waiting to jump. 60 pounds of equipment are strapped to his body. A Thompson submachine gun, ammunition, grenades, rations, a medical kit. The aircraft is flying at just 400 feet, far too low for a safe jump, but the pilots can't climb. German flak fills the sky. Tracers arc through the darkness like angry fireflies. Metal fragments slam into the fuselage. 13,000 paratroopers from the 82nd and 101st Airborne Divisions are dropping into Normandy. Their mission is simple on paper. Land behind the beaches, seize bridges and crossroads, and stop German reinforcements from reaching the invasion force. Nothing goes according to plan. The green light flashes. Funk jumps. The prop blast hits him like a truck. Then the parachute snaps open, and the world goes quiet. Below him is France. Occupied France. Enemy territory in every direction. From the first minute, the airborne operation is chaos. German anti-aircraft fire scatters the formations across 50 miles of countryside. Paratroopers come down in flooded fields and drown under the weight of their gear. Others land in the middle of German camps and are killed before they can even cut free. Funk hits the ground hard. His ankle twists on impact, badly sprained, maybe fractured. The pain is immediate, blinding. Every step will be agony for the next 2 weeks. But he can walk, he can fight, and that's all that matters. Funk gathers his chute, buries it, and starts moving. He is 40 miles from his intended drop zone, 40 miles deep in German-held territory, alone, in the dark. Within hours, lost paratroopers begin to gravitate toward him. Men from different companies, different regiments, different divisions. Eventually, there are 18 of them, all looking for leadership. Funk gives it to them. For 10 days, he leads the group through enemy territory, moving at night, hiding by day, fighting when they have to. Despite his injured ankle, Funk insists on serving as the lead scout, putting himself in the most dangerous position to shield his men. On June 17th, they reach Allied lines. Every man survives. Not a single casualty. 10 days behind enemy lines. 40 miles across occupied France. And Leonard Funk brings them all home. He earns the Silver Star, the third highest American award for combat valor, a Bronze Star for meritorious service, and his first Purple Heart. Funk is just getting started. September 17th, 1944, Holland. Operation Market Garden, the largest airborne assault in history. 35,000 paratroopers drop into the Netherlands to seize a chain of bridges across the Rhine. British, American, and Polish forces jump together. If it works, the Allies will be in Germany by Christmas. Field Marshal Montgomery's plan is ambitious, maybe too ambitious. The paratroopers must capture and hold 7 bridges across 64 miles of enemy territory, while ground forces race up a single, narrow highway to reach them. Everything depends on speed, on surprise, on nothing going wrong. Everything goes wrong. The British 1st Airborne Division lands at Arnhem, the farthest bridge, and finds itself surrounded by SS Panzer divisions that were never supposed to be there. For 9 days, they fight and die in the streets. Only a fraction will make it out alive. Only 2,000 of the 10,000 men who jump into Arnhem will make it out. A bridge too far enters military history as a warning about ambition and overreach. But Leonard Funk doesn't know any of that. He doesn't see the big picture. He only knows his orders: support the landings, secure the drop zones, kill Germans. After touching down, Funk's company takes its objective: standard airborne work. The 508th Parachute Infantry Regiment is operating near Nijmegen, helping to seize bridges that will allow Allied ground forces to push forward. Then Funk notices something that isn't part of the plan. 3 German 20mm Flak-Vierling anti-aircraft guns are firing at the incoming Allied gliders. The gliders are defenseless. They carry reinforcements, jeeps, artillery, ammunition, medical supplies, everything the airborne troops need to survive. If those guns keep firing, hundreds of men will be killed before they even hit the ground. The gun position is dug in on high ground near the village of Vauxhall. Sandbags, camouflage, interlocking fields of fire. Roughly 20 German soldiers man the weapons and provide security. Funk has 3 men. Military doctrine says you need a 3-to-1 advantage to assault a prepared position. Funk has the opposite. He's outnumbered 7-to-1. He attacks anyway. Leading from the front, Funk and his 3-man patrol rush the position. They eliminate the security detachment, storm the gun pits, and neutralize all 3 anti-aircraft guns, along with their crews. 20 Germans, 3 Americans. The guns go silent. The gliders land safely. For this action, Funk is awarded the Distinguished Service Cross, the 2nd highest decoration for valor in the United States Army, just below the Medal of Honor. He now wears a Silver Star and a DSC. 2 of the rarest combat decorations in the American military. Most soldiers who earn even 1 are considered heroes for life. Funk still isn't done. December 16th, 1944. The Germans launch their last desperate offensive. 3 armies, 400,000 men, 1,400 tanks, nearly 2,000 artillery pieces. They smash through the American lines in the Ardennes forest, driving toward the port of Antwerp. Hitler's plan is reckless, borderline insane, but for a moment, it almost works. The goal is everything or nothing. Split the Allied armies, capture Antwerp, force a negotiated peace in the West, and turn Germany's full attention against the Soviet Union. For the Americans, it's a nightmare. The attack hits. Thinly held sectors manned by green troops and exhausted veterans pulled off the line to rest. Entire divisions collapse. Thousands of soldiers surrender. The German advance creates a bulge 50 miles deep in the Allied front. The Battle of the Bulge, the largest battle the United States Army will fight in World War II. By the time it's over, 89,000 Americans will be casualties. The weather is merciless. Snow, ice, temperatures dropping to 5 degrees below zero. Men freeze to death in their foxholes. Weapons jam. Vehicles refuse to start. The cold kills almost as effectively as the enemy. Then comes Malmedy, December 17th, 1944. 1 day into the offensive, a convoy from the 285th Field Artillery Observation Battalion is moving near the Bonnier Crossroads when it collides with the spearhead of Kampfgruppe Piper, an SS armored battle group. The Americans are rear echelon troops, artillery observers, radio operators. They are not equipped to fight tanks and armored infantry. After a brief, hopeless engagement, 113 Americans surrender. They're herded into a farmer's field near the crossroads, disarmed, hands raised, prisoners of war. Then the SS opens fire, machine guns, pistols, rifles. The Germans mow them down where they stand. Men who try to run are cut down. Wounded soldiers are finished off with shots to the head. 84 Americans die in that field. Some survive by playing dead. They lie in the snow for hours, German boots crunching past them, German voices laughing. When darkness falls, 43 survivors crawl away and make it back to American lines. The news spreads through the American army within hours. The Germans are executing prisoners. Malmedy changes everything. Before this, the war in Europe has rules, unofficial, unspoken, but real. When situations become hopeless, soldiers surrender. Prisoners are treated according to the Geneva Convention. There is a grim professionalism between enemies. After Malmedy, those rules are gone. American soldiers swear they will never surrender to the SS. Some units pass down quiet orders. No SS prisoners. When Leonard Funk hears what happened in that field near Malmedy, something hardens inside him. He has already seen too much. Normandy, Holland, friends dying in fields and forests across Europe. But this is different. This is murder, cold-blooded execution of men who surrendered in good faith. Funk makes a decision that day. He will never surrender to the Germans, no matter what. That decision is about to matter. January 29th, 1945. The Ardennes. The German offensive has been broken. Now the Allies are pushing back. Company C, 508th Parachute Infantry Regiment, receives orders to capture the Belgian village of Holzheim. There's a problem. Company C is under strength. The executive officer, the second in command, has been killed. They don't have enough men for a full assault. Funk is now acting executive officer. He studies the roster. Then he makes a decision. Funk walks into the company headquarters tent. Inside are clerks, cooks, supply personnel, men who normally never see combat. You're all infantry now. Funk tells them, grab your weapons. We're taking that village. He forms a makeshift platoon, 30 men who have spent most of the war behind desks. They've had basic training, but real combat. Most of them have never fired a shot at another human being. Funk doesn't hesitate. He needs bodies. He'll turn them into soldiers. The march to Holzheim is 15 miles through waist-deep snow in a driving blizzard. Temperatures are well below freezing. German artillery harasses them from the flanks. Shells burst in the white distance. Funk leads from the front. They reach Holzheim. Funk organizes the assault. His clerks, his improvised infantry, follow him into the village. 15 houses, Germans in every one. Machine guns, rifles, grenades. House by house, Funk and his men clear the village. 30 German prisoners are captured without a single American casualty. Another unit captures 50 more on the far side of town. 80 prisoners in total. They're corralled into the yard of a farmhouse. Funk surveys his men. They've been marching and fighting for hours. There's still resistance elsewhere in the village. Isolated German soldiers who haven't surrendered yet. He can only spare 4 men to guard the prisoners. Keep them here, Funk tells the guards. We'll send reinforcements when we can. Then he turns back toward the fight. He has no idea what's about to happen behind him. While Funk clears the rest of Holzheim, a German patrol approaches the farmhouse. 10 men, maybe 20, wearing white camouflage capes that blend perfectly into the snow. In the confusion, they look almost identical to American troops in winter gear. The 4 guards realize the danger too late. The Germans rush them, disarm them, force them to their knees. Then they free the prisoners. 80 German soldiers, plus the patrol that freed them. 90 men in total. They seize weapons from the pile. They organize quickly. They know exactly what they're going to do. Attack Company C from the rear. Funk's men are scattered across the village, mopping up resistance. They aren't expecting an attack from behind. If 90 armed Germans strike now, it will be a massacre. The German officer in charge, probably a lieutenant or a captain, begins issuing orders. Position the machine guns here. Set up the ambush there. Wait for my signal. And that's when Leonard Funk walks around the corner. He's come to check on the prisoners. Routine. Make sure the guards are holding. See if reinforcements have arrived. He is not expecting what he sees. Funk rounds the corner of the farmhouse and freezes. The scene is unreal. His 4 guards are on their knees in the snow. The prisoners, who should be unarmed and contained, are standing everywhere, rifles in their hands, organizing for battle. The German officer spots Funk immediately. The first sergeant stripes on his sleeve mark him as a leader, a prize. The German officer strides forward. He shoves his MP-40 submachine gun into Leonard Funk's stomach and screams an order in German, "Surrender, drop your weapon." Funk doesn't understand a word of it. The officer screams again, louder. His face turns red. Veins stand out in his neck. Funk looks around. 90 German soldiers, about half of them armed. His 4 men on their knees in the snow, disarmed and helpless. 1 other American standing beside him, just as trapped. The math is simple. There is no scenario where Leonard Funk wins this fight. 90-1. The sensible thing, the rational thing, is to surrender. But Funk remembers Malmedy. 84 Americans murdered in a field, shot down after surrendering, left to freeze in the snow. He has already made his decision. He will never surrender to the Germans. So instead of complying, Leonard Funk does something no one expects. He starts laughing. No one knows exactly why Funk laughed. Maybe it was a ruse, an attempt to confuse the enemy and buy time. Maybe it was pure stress. The human brain does strange things when faced with certain death. Maybe it was the absurdity of it all. An officer screaming in a language Funk couldn't understand, demanding obedience at gunpoint. Funk later said he tried to stop laughing, but couldn't. Something about the German screaming in German struck a nerve. Whatever the reason, the effect is immediate and devastating. The German officer screams louder. Funk laughs harder. He bends forward, shoulders shaking, and calls out to his men, almost apologetically, "I don't understand what he's saying." A few of the German soldiers start laughing, too. The tension becomes surreal. Their officer is turning purple with rage, and this American refuses to stop cackling. The officer is completely thrown off. This isn't how prisoners behave. They beg, they plead, they comply. They don't stand there laughing while you shove a gun into their stomach. For a few critical seconds, the German officer doesn't know what to do. And Leonard Funk uses those seconds. Still appearing to laugh, Funk slowly raises his hand toward his Thompson submachine gun. It's slung over his shoulder, the standard carry for paratroopers. The officer watches closely. Good. The American is finally surrendering his weapon. Funk's hand closes around the grip. He begins to unsling it, slowly, carefully. The officer relaxes just a fraction. He's about to have another prisoner, another trophy. Then Funk moves. In one motion, faster than thought. He swings the Thompson down, brings the muzzle level, and squeezes the trigger. The M1A1 Thompson erupts at 600 rounds per minute. At this range, each .45 caliber round hits like a sledgehammer. The first burst slams into the German officer's chest. 30 rounds in less than 3 seconds. The officer is dead before he hits the ground. Funk doesn't stop. He can't stop. The instant he pulls the trigger, the choice is made: kill everyone or die trying. There is no middle ground. Funk pivots, still firing. The Thompson sprays an arc of lead into the Germans closest to him. Men scream, men fall. Blood splashes across the snow. Brass casings fly through the air, steaming in the frozen cold. Then the magazine runs dry. 30 rounds, gone in seconds. This is the most dangerous moment of all. A practiced Thompson reload takes 2 seconds. 2 seconds is an eternity in a firefight. 2 seconds is long enough for 90 Germans to kill 1 American. Leonard Funk rips the empty magazine from his Thompson, slams a fresh one home, racks the bolt, and keeps firing. The entire reload takes less than a heartbeat. Muscle memory, thousands of hours of training compressed into a single, fluid motion. As he fires, Funk is screaming at his men, "Pick up their weapons! Pick up their weapons!" The 4 guards, still on their knees moments ago, scramble for the rifles dropped by the dead Germans. Seconds earlier, they were prisoners. Now they're fighting for their lives. The Germans are in complete chaos. Their officer is dead. The American who was laughing is now killing them. No one has given orders. No one knows what to do. Some Germans fire back. Bullets crack past Funk's head. One round kills the American soldier standing beside him. Funk keeps moving, keeps firing, keeps killing. His guards have weapons now. They're shooting too. The Germans are suddenly trapped in a crossfire they never expected. 60 seconds. That's all it takes. 21 German soldiers lie dead in the snow. 24 more are wounded. The rest, more than 40 men, throw down their weapons and raise their hands. The prisoners are prisoners again. Leonard Funk stands in the middle of the carnage, smoke drifting from the barrel of his Thompson, bodies scattered around him. He looks at his men and says quietly, "That was the stupidest damn thing I've ever seen." The aftermath is almost anticlimactic. Company C secures Holzheim. The surviving Germans are marched to the rear under heavy guard. Funk reports the incident to his commanding officer. Just another firefight. Just another day in the war. But the story doesn't stay quiet. It spreads through the regiment, through the division, through the entire 82nd Airborne. The sergeant, who laughed at 90 Germans and killed 21 of them with a Tommy gun. When the Medal of Honor recommendation reaches Washington, no one questions it. What Funk did at Holzheim is beyond dispute. Outnumbered 90-1, an enemy weapon pressed into his stomach. He attacked instead of surrendering. The official citation reads that he was ordered to surrender by a German officer who pushed a machine pistol into his body. Although facing almost certain death, First Sergeant Funk pretended to comply, then with lightning speed brought his submachine gun into action and killed the officer. He then turned on the remaining Germans, firing and shouting to his men to seize enemy weapons. September 5th, 1945, the White House. President Harry Truman places the Medal of Honor around Leonard Funk's neck. "I would rather have this medal," Truman says, "than be President of the United States." Let's count what Leonard Funk earned in World War II. A Medal of Honor for Holzheim, a Distinguished Service Cross for silencing anti-aircraft guns in Holland, a Silver Star for leading 18 men through 40 miles of enemy territory in Normandy, a Bronze Star for meritorious service, 3 Purple Hearts for wounds suffered in combat, plus the Croix de Guerre from France, the Order of Leopold from Belgium, and the Military Order of William from the Netherlands, their equivalent of the Victoria Cross, 5 feet, 5 inches tall, 140 pounds. A former store clerk who became the most decorated paratrooper of World War II. When the war ends, Funk goes home. He doesn't write a book. He doesn't tour lecture halls. He doesn't turn his Medal of Honor into a career. He goes back to Pennsylvania and takes a job with the Veterans Administration, helping other veterans navigate paperwork, disability claims, and the bureaucracy of the system. The same quiet, unglamorous work he did before the war. For 27 years, Leonard Funk sits behind a desk and helps veterans. He rises through the ranks, eventually becoming a division chief in the Pittsburgh Regional Office. He lives with his wife, Gertrude, and their 2 daughters in McKeesport, Pennsylvania, not far from where he grew up. The medals sit in a case somewhere. He never talks about them. When people ask about Holzheim, about the laughing, about the 90 Germans, he shrugs. Did what I had to do. That's all he ever says. November 20th, 1992. Braddock Hills, Pennsylvania. Leonard Alfred Funk, Jr. dies of cancer at 76 years old. He is buried at Arlington National Cemetery, Section 35, grave 23734. At the time of his death, he is the last surviving Medal of Honor recipient from the 82nd Airborne Division in World War II. Most people know the famous names. Few know the short, quiet paratrooper who laughed at 90 Germans and lived. Here's what Leonard Funk's story tells us. War doesn't favor the big. It doesn't favor the strong. It doesn't favor the reckless or the fearless. War favors the ones who keep thinking when everyone else has stopped. At Holzheim, Leonard Funk had every reason to surrender. The math was impossible. 90 against 1. A gun in his stomach. His men already captured. But Funk wasn't thinking about the math. He was thinking about Malmedy, about men murdered after surrendering, about his soldiers scattered across the village who would be slaughtered if those Germans attacked from behind. So he laughed, maybe as a tactic, maybe from stress, maybe because the situation was absurd. And while the enemy was confused, while everything was off balance, Leonard Funk acted. 60 seconds later, he was standing in a field of bodies, alive, when he should have been dead. Courage isn't size. It isn't strength. It isn't training alone. Courage is what you do when there is a gun in your stomach and 90 men want you dead. Leonard Funk laughed, and then he killed them.